Hey, this is UFO Buster Radio. Manny Moonraker is your host. 286 is the number. And it's the day before Halloween here in the United States. Hence the different intro. That's right, we got scary news to talk about. It's not scary in the sense that you're going to run for your lives because there's triple sixes on it, horns, decapitations, mutilations. Nope, none of those. Just the regular old science nonsense that after a while it becomes really scary. And really, the scariest costume this week, tomorrow, in the U.S. should be a scientist. You know, you're up there with your white jacket, your pocket protector, thick glasses with tape all over them, awkward statements, you know, stuff like that. Walk around like you got a full board up your anus. Yeah. One of those guys. Nonetheless, this is, for those of you who are new, for some reason I got to say this because it's the only way to ensure, slightly sometimes, people who are illiterate from reading what the podcast is about. It is a satirical look at ufology, science, and everything else that goes bump in the sky or under your bed or chops up your cattle, whatever it is. But I feel like I need to say that every episode now because someone kind of misses it. It's really strange. Strange thing indeed. So, yeah, well, I got a couple of songs that I'm going to play on here, which are kind of dark, kind of Halloween-ish. So if you decide to loop it constantly while the little ankle biters come in to steal some of your candy, feel free. Feel free to play it. Cut it out. Maybe just get that segment out. I'll be quiet during the song in case you want to, steal it from the podcast. If you need to. You have my full permission and YouTube and anybody else that said it's okay for you to do that. The episode today really is about one situation because I've been seeing a lot of posts, right? A lot of posts about us not being, or having, to be honest, us being alone and not having companions in the universe. Yeah, but there is something to be said about these rocks that get flung from 4.2 far. And now that science is really paying attention to these gigantic rocks, thanks to Oumuamua, get kind of like rode by like a flash in someone's pants. Well, now they're paying attention. And to be honest, they probably paid attention before. They just weren't telling us anything. They'd rather just be negative Nancy's and just talk all that negative shit, talking about like we'll never find life anywhere in our lifetimes. Not going to happen. Very unlikely they will find life anywhere else, at least not intelligent life. I think most scientists at this point can actually agree that an amoeba is what we're going to find. Nothing more than that. Maybe a single-celled organism, like on Mars, something that keeps farting away with the cycles of the year and kicking off all that gas. My thing, too, is that these things have to eat something, right? What, are they fucking carnivores eating each other and farting away? They've got to be eating something else up there to cause the gas. Anybody ever talk about that? I mean, look at bugs. He eats, he farts, he shits. I would think anything that's alive probably has that same situation going on. But you don't hear stuff about that. You know, they're all hung up on the type of gas, when it happens, how strong it is, how many parts per a billion gajillion. Look, there's a cycle there. You can see it. You've been seeing it for years. Something is up there farting it up. Guess what? They fucking had to eat something for that to happen, I would assume. No matter what it is. There's some kind of biological process, but you're not going to get a straight answer until they're standing on Mars with a microscope and they actually see it and write up about 3 dozen papers. That's just the way it goes with science. You can't really fight it anymore. You just got to go with the flow, and you got to be an asshole about it and have a podcast that makes a lot of satirical statements, which really offends a lot of people, and that's the truth of the matter. That's why I get all the hateration. But it's okay. I'm okay with that. And sometimes there are people that have half a brain cell. Can actually make sense. Those are the ones that I like. You don't have to agree, but for the love of God, just make some fucking sense somewhere. Let's get into the first episode. Or should I say the first article, see? I'm already on my way to end the episode. I didn't even get started. Let's go. The first article is very fascinating. As a matter of fact, if you're looking at the description for the podcast, it is actually the second article listed. But I figured I'd go first because this one is closer to some Halloween shit than anything else. So it's going to go first. There is someone, a science type, again, that made an interesting comment about aliens. The name of the article, or the title of the article, is Rock-Breathing Aliens. NASA researcher says we must think beyond anything we know. Well, God darn it. Shake that guy's hand. I've been saying that for a while now. Things have got to be different everywhere else. Why? Because everywhere else is everywhere else and we're here. And because throughout the decades, every time science says something is this way, about a decade or two later, it turns out it's not that way. It's a totally different way. We must have been mistaken. Yeah, we know that. We've kind of heard that before. The article says any place where there is water on Earth, scientists say they have found life. It could be cold-ass fucking water. It could be hot-ass fucking water. It could be lukewarm water. It could be water dropping from their fucking eyelids. There's life in there. So they're saying wherever the fuck it's at, life finds a way to live in it. We've seen that. I mean, come on. Watch Discovery or some shit like that. One of them science channels. You'll see that shit all the time. At least 2-3 times a year. Even in the most impossible environments to survive, where humanity, where you couldn't stick a human being into, there is life there. It might be microbial, but fuck, something is surviving in that environment that we cannot survive. So why wouldn't there be that type of situation on a planet like Mars? This is what he's saying. He is a Rutgers University professor who apparently is in the search to find extraterrestrial life, but his focus has nothing to do with whether or not there is evidence of water. He says that shit could survive without water. Life finds a way. It really does. His name is Nathan Yee. Y-E-E, and he is a NASA-funded researcher at Rutgers, and he's teaching a new class on astrobiology, the study of alien life, at the university. He actually just started this semester. There's a quote by Yee on here, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying the guy Yee, not Yee, oh ye faithful, I'm talking about Yee, Y-E-E. He said, all things eat and breathe. Hashtag what I said about the fuckers farting on Mars. All things eat and breathe. And when you remove oxygen, like on ancient Earth or Mars atmospheres, there are microbes that have figured out ways to breathe other things, like iron found inside of rocks, he said. Now, I don't know what kind of information he has, but I think never heard of no Mars aliens eating, breathing irons. So I don't know. Maybe NASA gave him some information. So if you're in Rutgers in New Jersey, guess what? Sign up for his fucking class because it covers the origins of life on Earth and what this has to do with life on other planets. And again, everything is from the point of reference, and that's why we get shit wrong a lot. Because we only have one fucking point of reference. We have nothing else. We assume a lot of shit just from what we know because that is our foundation. But when we get into the universe, when we travel and look at other galaxies and things that are going on light years away, we notice that, shit, there's something wrong here. We automatically assume it is an anomaly rather than accepting that maybe what we're going through isn't exactly the norm. Or maybe our understanding is more an exception than the norm. He also said, in time, I hope the course will minor grow into... Well, shit, why would he say minor grow? I guess he's trying to say it would eventually grow into an undergraduate and graduate program of astrobiology because I predict astrobiology will become one of the most important fields of science in the future. You got to agree with him. With the way the space race is going now, you're wanting to throw people on the moon, shoot people all the way the fuck up to Mars, and then some. We've got moons out there that are icy and look that they have oceans and things like that. Yeah, you kind of need an astrobiologist in there somewhere. So I think he's right. Eventually, astrobiology is going to be the shit. It's going to be the thing to learn. You want to be involved in the study of life elsewhere and the cosmos. Because if Elon Musk has anything to do about it, there's going to be a starship in a few years. If you shoot for short years, not even long years, not 10, 20 years, within about 3 years, there will be a starship on the moon. And then it's only a hop, skip away because that's kind of the launching area for that trip to Mars. So, yeah, I can definitely agree with him. Life finds a way, and it's up to us to figure out how is life evolving everywhere else. But you can't just assume just because it's not in H2O or it's not breathing oxygen or it's not being extremely flatulent that it's not living. I like this guy. He's good. Maybe Elon should hire him on the first trip because I guarantee he might have some insight. We got a first Halloween song for you guys. Check it out. By the way, I want to give a special shout out to Goddard. He is on the live chat right now. I guess he's on the road, as they say. He'll catch up to the podcast later. Goddard, welcome aboard. The next one. The next news article is really scary. It is a significant issue. I mean, you might as well get bitten by a vampire on your wiener at this point, because that's what they do to us. It's absolutely bananas. Science is scary. Completely scary. It's shocking. And some of you might argue, oh, scientists are great. They're on YouTube. Yeah. Scientists are fantastic. You know, you can't shit on all of them, but for the love of Pete, come on. Somebody just put 1 and 1 together and just give me 2 for one time. One time only. Just give me number 2. Because apparently you can't really get number 2 with science, because you got to postulate that on the way to getting that calculation, you have some kind of a neuron go off and it goes south or it misfires and you end up with 4, 5, and 8. I don't know. Just doesn't work right. It doesn't happen. The next one is about Borisov. We've been all excited in science realms because Borisov is another interstellar object that came from 4.2 fucking far, but a little bit different from the first one, Oumuamua, because this one looked like a damn comet. It actually had a tail. So they were all excited about it. When it first happened, they were just chomping at the bits for this thing to get closer. And it has. Not as close as it should be, but damn, enough for them to use their fancy gadgets to figure out what the hell's going on. Alien water may have been found on interstellar comet Borisov. Let me just go through this. Apparently, they've detected trace of water on 2I Borisov. The first, and this article is fucking bananas, because the article keeps on referring to this as the first known interstellar comet. Well, I guess it's right? This thing has a tail. Oumuamua had nothing. It was just fast as fuck and no tail on it. But I guess, all right, I could agree with that. It turns out it will first confirm that there's water from another planetary system that has entered our system. Now, what happens when something from another system altogether, which really is bringing in foreign water, who knows what the fuck is in it, what kind of life is in that, what happens if one of those actually hits our planet? Is that how disease is born? Borisov was discovered back in late August. We know about this amateur astronomer type of guy who was looking at it. Found it, had it confirmed. And it turns out that the closest approach for Borisov will be in early December. So we've got plenty of time to continue to do studies on this. Adam McKay at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland and a couple of his buddies, they hit the jackpot according to this article. They used an instrument at the Apache Point Observatory in New Mexico to study the light that was being reflected by the comet earlier this month. What they found is a treasure trove. They found oxygen. They found possibly that it came from the results of water ice turning or sublimating from solid to gas as it was heated by the sun. How is this important? I mean, it's important because according to science, over the decades, where there is water, there is a significant possibility of life. Again, this all comes from our own perspective because, as I said earlier, wherever the fuck you find water, you usually find all kind of damn life, whether it's extremely cold, extremely hot, or lukewarm temperatures. There's a quote here from McKay that says, if a water molecule sublimates off the surface, it gets released as water vapor from the comet. Ultraviolet light from the sun will break the molecule apart into hydrogen and oxygen, which is what the team detected. But don't get it twisted. There's another article I came across that said other chemicals, other compounds were detected, other elements. There's a second link in here, and just as a quick mention, and it was titled, Astronomers have detected the emission of small carbon chains within the coma of H2O Borisov. But that wasn't the only thing. I mean, they've been like finding all kind of shit. These guys don't go to sleep. I'm telling you, they have got their big girl panties all the way up to their nips, and they're in it 24/7. They also found cyanide gas. I mean, I don't know if that's a good sign that there's a interstellar object heading into our solar system jacked on cyanide. I don't know about that. Could be dangerous. So now we have an object coming from who the fuck knows where, with basically what we kind of associate the building blocks of life. What the hell else is on there? And I have a feeling they're going to discover a whole lot more the closer it gets. But will they, science, be able to then say, you know, it's been really hard for them to come to grips that there is water anywhere else in our solar system. But can they come to grips with the idea that several light years away, this comet came from a solar system that also contained water? A solar system that may not even be in our own galaxy. Can they really extrapolate that far? Is that too hard for them? Do they need to break out the Texas Instrument calculators to figure that bitch out? Now, they've been having a hard time trying to calculate where in the hell Borisov came from, right? Because they've already figured out it's not from our solar system. What they're coming up with, and I saw an article there that said over 10,000 simulations were run to date trying to figure out where this thing came from. The closest they have gotten is to a binary star system that's 13 light years away. 13 light years. There's a lot of thinking, a lot of introspection to go into this for science, because this comet is bringing a lot of stuff, a lot of information. And the articles are out there right now already quoting that possibly what we're looking at is alien water. And what could that alien water contain? Could you imagine that if the idea is that wherever there's liquid water, there's life? Can you imagine what kind of life just came into our solar system from 13 light years away? What kind of DNA does it have? But the question is, can science grasp that? Can they get past the idea that there is something out there? I don't know. It's hard to say. It's a hard call, but they've got what about another month to get all their tests together and really figure out and come to terms with the idea that there is water not only in our own solar system and other planets and moons, because they've already come to terms with that, but now they have to realize that about 13 light years away, some fucker sent us a message filled with cyanide, carbon, and water. Time to wake up, folks. Time to take those gifts you were given and put them to good use. This is the end of the episode. I thank you guys for listening. Have a happy Halloween. wherever the hell you're celebrating it. And stay safe. Ciao.